In the year 2019, in Mexico City, in a cramped apartment tucked away in Coyoacan, something impossible begins to surface. A secret no one expected, least of all a family sitting down to an ordinary evening. At just 4 years old, Santiago Morales sits cross-legged in front of the television, eyes locked on a documentary about space. Then, suddenly, he points a tiny finger at the screen and speaks words that will send a chill through the room. "Dad, NASA is lying. There are buildings on the moon. I saw them." His father, Roberto, a software engineer, instinctively turns the volume down. His mother, Patricia, freezes mid-step on her way from the kitchen. The air feels heavier now. "What did you say, honey?" Patricia asks, with a shaky smile, trying to brush it off as imagination. But Santiago's gaze meets hers, dark eyes steady, unblinking, far too serious for a boy his age. "It's not imagination, Mom. There are structures in the Tycho crater. Lunar coordinates 43 degrees south, 11 west. Metal towers 47 meters tall." The room empties of sound. Roberto drops his coffee cup. Patricia stays rooted to the spot, her pulse thudding. "Where did you hear that, Santiago?" Roberto's voice cracks. "I didn't hear it, Dad. I know. And I know that the Apollo 20 mission wasn't cancelled. It landed on the moon in August 1976. They found something they never told us about." Roberto and Patricia lock eyes, terrified. Apollo 20 was nothing more than a fringe conspiracy whispered about online. They had never mentioned it around their son. He doesn't even know how to use a computer. "Son, how do you know about Apollo 20? Santiago stands, disappears into his room. Seconds later, he returns holding a sketchbook. He flips to a page and lays it on the table. The drawing is detailed, impossibly so. The moon's surface rendered with precision, craters, rock formations, and at the center, a tall man-made structure with panels running up its sides. Next to it, numbers scrawled in a child's hand. 43 Candy Cress, 11 Alt 47 millimeters. Patricia feels her knees weaken. "When did you draw this?" she whispers. "Last night," Santiago says softly, "after I woke up. The man in the silver suit showed it to me. He said it was important for people to know the truth." Roberto takes the notebook with trembling hands. As an engineer, he instantly recognized the coordinates are written in proper technical format. A 4-year-old should not know this. "What man, Santiago? Who showed you this?" Tears brim in the boy's eyes. "The astronaut, the one who died protecting the secret. He told me his name, but he made me promise not to say it until we find the evidence." The room falls silent. Only the wall clock ticks, the hum of Mexico City's traffic faint through the window. Roberto's skepticism battles with the technical precision of what he's seeing. He opens his laptop, types in the coordinates. They match exactly with an area of Tycho crater debated endlessly on UFO forums. What he finds next makes his breath catch. An old NASA photograph, partially blacked out, pixelated, taken during an unmanned mission in 2009. And in the uncensored corner, faint but unmistakable, rises a vertical anomaly, a structure roughly 47 meters tall. "Oh my God," Roberto whispers, showing Patricia the screen. Santiago steps closer, nodding. "That's it, Dad. But there's more, Dad. Much more. And if we don't tell the truth, they'll keep hiding it forever." Patricia clutches her son tightly, fear, disbelief, and awe knot together in her chest. This is only the beginning. In the days to come, Santiago will reveal details so precise, so impossible for a child to know, that space authorities around the world will take notice and want to silence them. And a question begins to haunt this small apartment. How can a 4-year-old boy know secrets NASA has never publicly confirmed? The next morning, Roberto hasn't slept. His laptop is surrounded by empty coffee cups, crumpled printouts of lunar photos, and scribbled notes. He's been up all night chasing the trail of his son's words. Patricia steps into the living room and stops. Her husband's face is pale, his eyes hollow from exhaustion. "Did you find anything?" she asks softly. He turns the screen toward her. "I found too much, and that's what scares me." On the monitor glows a declassified NASA document from 1976. Roberto points to a single line: "Apollo 20 mission, officially cancelled due to budget cuts." He clicks another tab.
A grainy video fills the screen, apparently leaked in 2007 by a former NASA employee. A voice with an accent says, "Coordinates confirmed. Tycho 43 South, 11 West." Patricia covers her mouth. It's exactly what Santiago said. Just then, Santiago pads barefoot into the living room, rubbing his eyes. He climbs onto the couch between his parents and stares at the video. He says casually, "That's William." Roberto almost falls off his chair. "How do you know that name?" Santiago answers quietly, "He told me last night, showed me more stuff. There's an ancient spaceship in the crater of the port. It's 3.8 kilometers long. It's been crashed there for millions of years." Patricia shivers. "Santiago, this isn't a game." The boy looks up at her sadly. "I know, Mom. That's why William picked me, because grown-ups are too scared to tell the truth." Roberto frantically searches port crater and spaceship. All he finds are conspiracy threads, nothing official, until something catches his eye. In 2019, China released high-resolution photos of the moon's far side. One image shows the port crater with an elongated anomaly exactly 3.8 kilometers long. "It can't be," Roberto whispers. Santiago grabs a pencil, pulls a blank sheet toward him. In seconds, his tiny hand sketches a cigar-shaped spacecraft with oval windows and strange symbols on its sides. "It's called the Mother," he says, voice low. "The astronauts went inside. They found bodies and technology that would change everything." Patricia hugs her son, tears slipping down her cheeks. "Why you, my love? Why is this happening to you?" Santiago lifts his eyes. "Because William says I was part of that mission in another life, and now I have to finish what he started." Roberto closes his laptop abruptly. His head is spinning. They need help, someone who can make sense of this. He grabs his phone. "Martine, I need you to come over. It's urgent. It's about my son and the moon." 2 hours later, a knock at the apartment door. Dr. Martin Ochoa, 50, gray-haired, thick glasses, stands there with a folder under his arm. His expression is tight with worry. "Roberto, this better be important. I cancel the conference because of this." Roberto doesn't answer. He just steps aside. Patricia is on the couch, holding Santiago close. "Martin, sit down," Roberto says quietly. "What you are about to hear will challenge everything you think you know." For 20 minutes, Roberto lays it all out, the drawings, the coordinates, the names, the structures. Martin listens, frowning deeper with each detail. "Roberto," he finally says, shaking his head, "you're an engineer. You know this is impossible. A 4-year-old kid?" Santiago cuts him off, his voice calm but steady. "Dr. Ochoa, you worked on the lunar mapping project back in 2015. They found 47 structural anomalies that were never made public. Number 23 is in Mare Tranquillitas, coordinates 0.67 north, 23.47 east. Martin freezes. His face drains of color. "What? How do you know that? That project is classified." Santiago stands, walks closer to the man. "William Rutledge showed me the files. I also know you have nightmares about what you saw there." Martin's hands tremble. No one knows about his nightmares, not even his wife. "Show me the drawings," he says, voice hoarse. Santiago brings his notebook. He flips through each page, his eyes widening. Every detail is technically exact. Santiago slid a finger across one of his drawings. "This is anomaly 23, he said softly. "It's dome-shaped, 340 meters across." Martin stared at the page, his face draining of color. Santiago continued, "and thought it was just a glitch in the image." Martin dropped the notebook, took off his glasses and rubbed his eyes. "Who are you, really?" "I'm Santiago," the boy replied, "but I was someone else too, someone who saw the truth and died before they could tell it." Martin's gaze darted to Roberto and Patricia. "We need to check this out," he muttered. "I have access to the observatory's database. If this kid can predict coordinates that only 3 people in Mexico know about—" "I can," Santiago said simply. Roberto's voice trembled. "Do it, but later, Dr. Ochoa, you'll have to help us. NASA won't want this to get out, and they'll come after us." The silence thickened. Martin drew a deep breath. "All right, let's head to the observatory now." But none of them knew that at that very moment, an alert had already gone off in a secret office in Houston, Texas. Someone was asking dangerous questions about the moon, and that someone was a 4-year-old child.
On the outskirts of Mexico City, the National Astronomical Observatory loomed dark and still. It was midnight when Martín, Roberto, Patricia, and Santiago slipped quietly through a back door. No one else was there. "We've got full access to the database," Martín whispered as he powered up the lab's main computers. Blue light from 6 massive screens filled the room. He typed quickly, entering access codes. "All right, Santiago, let's test what you said. Give me lunar coordinates you've never seen before, not on the internet, not in books, areas not publicly photographed." Without hesitation, Santiago walked up to the main screen. Giordano Bruno crater, far side, coordinates 35.9 degrees north, 102.8 east, crater depth 22 kilometers. 3 pyramid-like structures on the southern edge. The largest one has a 180-meter base. Martín entered the coordinates. The image loaded slowly. A high-resolution photograph from the Chinese Chang'e 4 probe, never publicly released. Martín let out a strangled scream. There they were, 3 perfect pyramid-shaped formations right on the crater's southern edge. The biggest measured exactly 180 meters at the base. Patricia staggered, and Roberto caught her. "Another one," Martín said, his voice shaking. "Give me another coordinate." Santiago closed his eyes. "Lunar South Pole, Shackleton crater. There's a tunnel going 340 meters down beneath the surface. The entrance is rectangular, 12 meters wide by 18 high. Exact coordinates, 89.9 south, 132.1. Martín's fingers flew across the keyboard. Classified images from NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter filled the screens. He zoomed in on the area. There it was, a perfect rectangular opening. The on-screen dimensions, 12.3 meters by 18.1 meters. Tunnel depth, 341 meters. "Oh my God," Martín whispered. "This is impossible. Impossible!" Santiago's voice took on an eerie maturity. "And inside the tunnel, there's something you call the library. Panels with symbols, preserved technology. The Apollo 20 astronauts photographed everything. The images are on NASA's Blackstone 7 server, file code LRO PSR89X. Santiago finished. Martín spun around sharply. "How do you know the name of the Blackstone server? That's top secret. It shouldn't even officially exist." "Because William showed me," Santiago said calmly. "He copied the files before he died." Roberto leaned forward. "Martín, can you get into that server?" "No way," Martín snapped. "Urgent. That means hacking NASA systems. It's illegal. We could go to jail." Right then, all the observatory screens flickered. They went dark for 2 seconds. When they came back on, a message in red letters glowed across every monitor. "Unauthorized access detected. Location tracked. Team on the way." Patricia's scream cut through the room. "What does that mean?" Martín went pale. "It means they found us. Someone's monitoring these searches." Santiago grabbed his mother's hand. "They're coming, Mom. The men in black, just like William warned me." Roberto ran to the window. In the distance, 3 black vehicles sped down the observatory road. "Urgent! We have to get out of here now!" Martín's hands trembled as he reached for his phone and hit record. They scrambled to load the images onto a USB stick. "Take this," Martín hissed. "It's the only proof." They bolted out the back door just as black vehicles swung into the main parking lot. The question clawing at each of them was simple. Who's chasing us? And how far would they go to protect the moon's secrets? Roberto's car tore through the empty streets of Mexico City in the gray-blue wash of early morning. Patricia clutched Santiago tightly in the back seat, her knuckles white. Martín kept glancing at the rearview mirror, his voice a low rasp. "Are they following us?" "I don't know," Roberto muttered, gripping the steering wheel so hard his fingers hurt. "But we can't go home. They'll be waiting for us." In the back seat, Santiago sat unnervingly calm. "We need to go to the Circuito Hotel in the Zona Rosa, room 307. That's where the person who can help us will be." Roberto slammed the brakes at a red light. "What? How do you know that?" "William told me." Patricia's eyes filled with tears. "My love, this is too dangerous. We should go to the police." Santiago shook his head. "The police can't help us, Mom. This is bigger than them. Bigger than everyone." Martín exhaled shakily. "Let's do what the kid says. At this point, what else do we have to lose?" 20 minutes later, the car stopped a block from the hotel. It was an old building tucked into a side street, its faded sign flickering under a dim bulb. They walked quickly, heads low, glancing over their shoulders. At the front desk, a sleepy clerk barely looked up. They climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor. The hallway was dimly lit, only emergency lights glowing. Room 307.
Martin knocked 3 times. Silence. He knocked again. The door creaked open. A woman in her 60s stood there, white hair tied back, sharp green eyes scanning them with a mix of shock and relief. "You finally made it," she said in a soft American accent. "Come in, quickly." They stepped into a room plastered with lunar maps, old photographs, and yellowing documents. A laptop glowed on a desk. The woman locked the door and turned to Santiago. Her eyes shimmered. Did you really come back?" Santiago nodded. "Hi, Leona." The woman fell to her knees, hugging the boy as tears rolled down her cheeks. "I've waited so long, 52 years waiting for this sign." Roberto stepped forward. "Who are you? How do you know my son?" Leona wiped her tears and stood. "My name is Leona Snyder. I was a NASA communications engineer. I worked for 30 years directly with William Rudlick on the Apollo 20 mission." Martin's head jerked up. "Apollo 20 was canceled. It never happened." Leona smiled sadly. "That's what they made us say. But it did happen, Dr. Ochoa. And we found exactly what this boy is revealing now." She pulled a metal box from under the bed. Inside were yellowed photographs, ultra-secret documents stamped classified, and a small rock etched with strange inscriptions. "This is a sample William brought back from the alien ship, from La Madre. We analyzed it in secret. It's 1.5 billion years old." Patricia sat heavily on the bed, dizzy. This can't be real." Leona's eyes locked on Santiago. "Tell me something only William and I knew. Something that proves you really are who I think you are." Santiago stepped closer and whispered in her ear. Her face crumpled. She began to sob, not soft tears, but deep, shaking sobs. "No one could know that. No one. Except William." Leona hugged the boy tightly. "So it's true. You've been reincarnated. And now they're coming for you. Just like they came for him." She moved quickly, closing the curtains and turning on a dim lamp. From the metal box, she took a yellowed envelope sealed with red wax. "William gave me this before he died in 2016. He made me promise to only open it when the boys showed up. For years I thought he was just delirious. But now—" She broke the seal. Inside were photographs no human being was meant to see. The first showed the inside of an alien ship, metal walls covered with symbols. The second was even more disturbing. A mummified humanoid with female features lying in a hibernation chamber. "We call her Mona Lisa," Leona whispered, trembling. "She was about 5'5", bluish skin, wires attached to her head. She'd been dead for millions of years, but her body was perfectly preserved." Martin leaned in. The photos were grainy but terrifyingly detailed. Every part of him wanted to deny what he was seeing, but the images were too precise, too real. "Why did they hide this? The world deserves to know." Leona sighed. "Because it would change everything. Religions, economies, power structures. Humanity wasn't ready. Maybe it still isn't." Santiago moved to the laptop and began typing with the confidence of someone far older. "The Blackstone 7 server access code is Delta Romeo 77 Tango Echo. It's got a triple firewall, but the back door is on port 8 at Tincho 847. Martin's mouth fell open. "That's impossible. A kid can't know advanced programming." "I'm not just a kid, Dr. Ochoa," Santiago said without looking up. "I'm also William's memory, and he knew exactly how to get in." The screen filled with classified files, videos and technical documents. Everything about Apollo 20. "There's a video," Santiago said. "Eva Final Rotlet.mp4. Play it." Leona clicked. On screen, an astronaut moved shakily through a metal hallway inside the alien ship. William Rudlick's voice echoed, thin and distant. "Houston, this is Rotlich. I'm on level 3 of the structure. The walls have inscriptions. They look like control panels. There's still some residual energy. After millions of years, there's still power." The camera turned toward a circular room. In the center stood a pedestal with a glowing crystal object. "Oh my God," William breathed. "Is that some kind of core? Energy? It's alive. I can feel it." The transmission cut off abruptly. Leona closed the video, her hand trembling. That was the last official transmission. Minutes later, they ordered him back to Earth. They confiscated everything. They made him sign under threat of death. Patricia clutched Roberto's arm, shaking. What was that crystal object? Santiago's voice went distant, almost echoing.
It's the mother's heart, a source of stabilized antimatter energy, technology so powerful it could end Earth's energy problems overnight. Oil, coal, gas, everything we built our world on, rendered worthless. Billions of dollars at stake. That's why they hid it. Suddenly, the phone in the room rings. Everyone freezes. Leona picks it up with a trembling hand, listens for 10 seconds. Her face drains of color. She hangs up, almost in slow motion. It was them. They know we're here, she says quietly. We have 5 minutes before they arrive. Santiago grabs Martine's USB. We need to get this out now before they shut us up. But the question no one can voice is, who on earth could they possibly trust with humanity's most dangerous truth? Hurry, pack everything up, Leona yells, ripping cables from the laptop. There's an emergency exit on the roof. Roberto lifts Santiago. Martine takes the metal box with the evidence. Patricia clutches the USB and the laptop. Together, they race up the narrow stairway leading to the rooftop. The night wind hits their faces. Down on the street below, 3 black SUVs circle the hotel. Men in dark suits spill out, moving like a single unit. Over here, Leona points to a makeshift bridge connecting to the next building. Cross one by one. As they scramble across, Santiago glances down and sees the agents entering the hotel. We don't have much time. They reach the neighboring building, descending a fire escape 2 steps at a time. In the alley, Leona leads them to an old car parked just right. I knew this day would come, she mutters, starting the engine. I've been preparing for years. They drive for 20 minutes, constantly switching routes. Finally, they arrive at an abandoned building in the industrial district. Leona parks inside a cavernous, empty warehouse. We'll be safe here for a few hours. I've got satellite transmission gear. She hauls out boxes of antennas, laptops, and cables. Martine helps her set everything up. Are you going to broadcast the evidence? Roberto asks. No, Leona replies steadily. Not just broadcast, I'm going to flood the internet, thousands of servers at once. Torrents, P2P networks, distributed blockchain. They won't be able to erase it. Santiago sits down in front of a camera Leona has set up. I'll speak. I'll tell you the truth. Patricia kneels before her son, her hands trembling. My love, once you do this, there's no turning back. Your life will change forever. Santiago takes her hands. I know, Mom, but William gave his life for this. Now I have to finish his mission. Leona turns on the camera, the red light blinking. Despite his age, Santiago's eyes hold an undeniable authority. My name is Santiago Morales. I'm 4 years old, but I'm also the reincarnation of William Rutledge, an astronaut from the Apollo X mission. NASA has been lying to you for decades. There are alien structures on the moon. There's technology that could change the world and proof of ancient extraterrestrial life that's been hidden. Martine plugs in the USB. Images flash on the screen, photos of lunar structures, videos from inside the mothership, classified documents. At coordinates 43 degrees south, 11 degrees west, in the Tycho crater, metal towers stand 47 meters tall. Inside the large crater, there's a spaceship 3.8 kilometers long. At the Shackleton crater's south pole, a rectangular tunnel descends 340 meters, where preserved technology is kept. For 5 minutes, Santiago lists coordinates, each backed by visual evidence. Humanity deserves to know the truth, he says. We're not alone, never were, and the moon is proof. Leona hits the transmit button, sending to 2,847 servers all at once in 3, 2, 1. Progress bars fill rapidly, 10%, 30%, 50%, then total darkness. The warehouse lights go out. Outside, vehicle engines grow louder. They found us, Martine whispers. The laptop shows 87% complete. The upload isn't finished yet. An amplified voice calls from outside. Hands up, everyone! There's no way out! Santiago stares at the screen.
93%, 95%, just a few more seconds. Leona prays under her breath. 98%, the warehouse door bursts inward. 99%, transmission complete. 10 armed men storm inside, tactical flashlights blinding the family. Behind them, a woman in a gray suit strides forward, short hair, about 50, a badge Roberto instantly recognizes. National Security Agency. "I'm Director Margaret Collins. Shut down the equipment now." Leona steps between the agents and the laptop. It's too late. Everything's already been transmitted. Right now, millions of people are downloading the files. Margaret smiles coldly. "We know. That's why we're not here to stop you. We're here to negotiate." "Negotiate what?" Roberto asks. "Your silence. Your cooperation. Your controlled disappearance from the public eye." Santiago steps forward, tiny against the armed agents, but somehow commanding the room. "We're not going to stay quiet. The world already knows the truth." Margaret kneels, meeting his eyes. "Kid, do you even realize what you just unleashed? Chaos, panic, collapse, markets, religious wars. Humanity isn't ready for this." "Humanity will never be ready," Santiago replies. "There's always an excuse to hide the truth." Marquine glances at his phone. Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, all exploding with the footage. Luna NASA and Apollo 20 trending worldwide. It's already viral. Millions of downloads. They can't stop this. Margaret stands, her composure cracking. "We'll discredit you. We'll say it's CGI, fakes, conspiracy theories. People will forget." Leona laughs bitterly. "Not when I have this." She pulls a small USB from her pocket. "This has the exact GPS coordinates of the Apollo 20 mission, the real landing site. Any country with a lunar satellite can verify it." Margaret's face turns pale. "If those coordinates get out, it'll trigger a militarized space race. China, Russia, everyone will rush to the moon to claim the technology." "Exactly," Santiago says. "And that'll stop you from monopolizing it."
Margaret raised her hand, and the agents slowly lowered their weapons. The room was thick with tension. This wasn't a simple standoff anymore. "You're playing with forces bigger than the NSA," she said flatly. Roberto's knuckles whitened on his fists. "Like who?" "Corporations, governments, the ones who've poured billions into keeping the energy status quo," Margaret replied. "They won't let a kid and a few researchers wreck the world order." Santiago stepped toward her, his small frame radiating a strange adult certainty. "Director Collins, I know things you don't. There's war on the moon. And if they try to hurt us, I'll reveal the Meridiani installation." Margaret flinched like he'd just named a ghost. "What?" "Coordinates 0 degrees, 0 degrees. The point where the meridian crosses," Santiago continued. "An underground facility even the president doesn't know about. The one you call Project Genesis." Silence. Even the armed men exchanged blank looks. Margaret's breathing turned shallow. "That's Omega-level classified. There's no way you could know. William found out in his last week of life before you drove him to suicide." Leona gasped. "They killed him." Margaret's silence said enough. Patricia pulled her son into her arms. "You won't touch my child." Margaret straightened her jacket. "You've got 48 hours. The revelation you've made will cause chaos, but it's manageable. Mention Project Genesis, and I can't protect you. There are forces that erase witnesses no matter the cost." She turned for the door. "Wait," Santiago called. "One last thing. Look at the sky tonight, 3:47 a.m. at the lunar coordinates I'll send. You'll see something that changes everything." Margaret stared at him, her face unreadable. "The mother isn't dead," Santiago said softly. "She's asleep, and she's waking up." Margaret paused at the doorway, eyes full of fear she couldn't hide. "Send me those coordinates, and pray you're wrong." Then she left with her agents. For a long moment, no one spoke. "What did you mean?" Roberto finally asked. Santiago walked to the laptop and opened an astronomical monitoring program. 3 weeks ago, the lunar seismic sensors detected vibrations in the Crater del Port. Constant frequency, unnatural pattern. NASA classified it as a geological anomaly.
Martin frowned, but the moon's been dead for millions of years, no seismic activity. Exactly, Santiago said. It's not geological, it's technological. The ship's antimatter core is powering back up. After 1.5 billion years, something woke it up. Leona dropped heavily into a chair. William always feared this. Messing with that core could trigger systems in hibernation. Patricia gripped her son's shoulders. Is it dangerous? I don't know yet, Santiago admitted, staring out at the night sky. But at 3:47, we'll find out. The ship will send a signal. A signal going where, Roberto asked. Back to whoever built it? The weight of that thought settled like concrete over the room. Martin checked his watch. It's 2:30, just over an hour. Leona unfolded a portable telescope from a case she'd kept hidden. We need the exact coordinates. Santiago closed his eyes as though searching a deep well of memory. Crater del Port, 16 degrees north, 122. Focus on the northeast edge of the ship. There's the main transmitter. While Martin and Leona set up the gear, Roberto's phone buzzed with a notification. Moon signal was trending worldwide. Amateur astronomers were reporting strange electromagnetic emissions from the moon. They're starting to notice, Roberto murmured. Santiago nodded. The signal started 12 hours ago, weak at first, but it's getting stronger. At 3:47, it'll reach its peak. Patricia scrolled through her own feed. Ham radio operators, observatories, electromagnetic spikes. NASA just released a statement. They're claiming it's normal solar activity reflected off the moon. Leona laughed bitterly. Liars to the end. The minutes crawled. The telescope was ready. Each of them took turns peering through the lens at the crater's gray surface. 3:45 a.m. 2 minutes. Santiago stepped forward. It's about to start. You can see it with the naked eye too, eastern horizon of the moon. 3:46 a.m. 1 minute. Leona hit record on the telescope camera. Through the scope, the barren crater loomed, the elongated shape of the mothership just visible in the shadows. 3:47 a.m. It happened. A flash of electric blue light burst from inside the ship. It grew brighter and brighter, until, within seconds, a beam of light shot out.
The night sky above Earth burned with questions no one could answer. Then, it happened. At 004122, a flash erupted from the moon's surface, bright enough to see with the naked eye. A perfect blue beam shot upward, cutting clean through the darkness of space like a blade of light. Phones recorded it. Observatories confirmed it. Millions watched, speechless, as the beam held for 47 seconds, then snapped off. Silence swallowed the world. Santiago's voice broke it, soft, steady, but grave. The signal was sent. Exact coordinates transmitted. Distance calculated. 940 light-years. Roberto's hands trembled. What does that mean? Santiago turned to face his father. It means that in 940 years, someone will get that message and know that the mother is still here, waiting. Patricia Salusa whispered, Why? Why now? Because, Santiago said, the ship detected human activity getting too close. Our new moon missions, our plans for permanent bases, our technology reaching critical levels. The mother sent a warning. Leona Snyder replayed the recording again and again. William had been right all along. Messing with things we don't understand has consequences. At 004242, Martin's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered cautiously. Dr. Ochoa? This is Director Collins. We all saw it. Confirm it. What the hell just happened? Santiago took the phone. What just happened, Director, is that humanity has announced itself to the universe. Now all we can do is wait for a response. A week later, the world had already changed. The Morales family sat beneath a wall of cameras at an international press conference. Hundreds of journalists, scientists, and government officials filled the hall. The UN had called a special emergency session. For the first time, the world's space powers, China, the US, Russia, Europe, had come together. A joint mission to the moon was underway. Leona Snyder was vindicated. Her testimony, backed by undeniable evidence, had forced NASA to partially admit the truth. Apollo Shao had found something and hidden it for decades. Now Martin Ochoa led an international team of scientists poring over the data. The governments could no longer deny what was obvious. Santiago stepped up to the mic. Cameras swung toward him like predators. For years, they told us we were alone, that the moon was just dead rock. They lied because they were scared the truth would change everything. And they were right. But change doesn't have to destroy us. The technology up there can save us. It can end our energy crisis, power the world without pollution, take us to the stars, but only if we share it. Only if we let go of fear and greed. Santiago looked straight into the main camera. William Rutledge gave his life to protect this truth. Now through me, his mission is complete. Humanity knows its place in the universe. We're not alone. We never were. Margaret Collins stepped to the podium next, the weight of her words written on her face. A week ago, I would have done anything to silence this. But now I see, the truth always finds a way. The U.S. government, along with other nations, is committed to total transparency about the lunar findings. Roberto took his son's hand. What's going to happen to you now, Santiago? Will you still just be a kid? For the first time in days, Santiago smiled, a real childlike smile. I'm Santiago. I'll always be Santiago. William fulfilled his mission through me. Now I can just be myself. But his expression shifted again. The seriousness returned. There's one last thing you need to know. Martin stepped forward. What did it trigger? There are other ships. Other structures. Not just on the moon. He unfolded a piece of paper slowly, like a secret. Cameras zoomed in. A map appeared. 6 marked locations. Antarctica, the Bermuda Triangle, the Gobi Desert, the Mariana Trench, the Amazon, and the Sahara. Artifacts, Santiago said. The mother's signal awakened them too. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Santiago raised his hands for calm. Don't be afraid. If these civilizations had wanted to destroy us, they would have done it millions of years ago. They left these ships like seeds, waiting for us to evolve enough to find them, to deserve them. Leona stepped closer. What's the next step? Santiago looked past her, out the auditorium windows, up at the sky. The next step is for humanity to stop looking inward and start looking up. Because now that we've announced ourselves, the universe is watching. We need to be ready. 3 months later, the international mission reached the mothership. Inside, they found exactly what Santiago had described. Antimatter cores, knowledge panels, star maps of distant galaxies, and a message, written in every possible language, in the language of math itself. To those who awaken, the universe is vast and ancient. You are young but full of promise. These tools are your legacy. Use them wisely. You're not alone. You never were. And soon you won't be the only ones awake. Far away in his family's living room, 5-year-old Santiago Morales watched the broadcast, smiling softly. His mission as William was over. His life as Santiago, the boy who changed humanity's fate, was just beginning. And somewhere, 940 light-years away, a signal sped through the dark, patient and silent, always waiting, always waiting.